What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including why The Undertaker changed his look, WrestleMania plans change once again, CM Punk takes a dig at Roman Reigns, how is WWE salvaging the WWE Hall of Fame and NXT TakeOver, AEW told to honor its 50-person limit for Dynamite, and Roman Reigns is reportedly being monitored by doctors. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Now, I'm sorry if the voice sounds a little bit off today. We've changed location and we're now working from home. It's a big change, but everything is currently scheduled as normal. That includes another Final Bell episode this week. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story, as we look at why The Undertaker changed his look. What's going on with The Undertaker? That's the question fans started asking when the Phenom showed up for his contract signing on Raw with AJ Styles. Taker wasn't wearing his traditional dead man attire of a long leather jacket and hat, instead resembling the American badass biker character from the early 2000s without a motorcycle. So, is The Undertaker going back to his biker gimmick? It certainly looks that way, which is odd because The Undertaker once said he was never going back to that gimmick. Is this part of a storyline of Mark Calloway putting his character aside and making his Mania match with AJ Styles personal after Styles' comments about The Undertaker's wife? We certainly think that's the case, but it should also be noted that The Undertaker maintained elements from his supernatural gimmick, with the lights dimming and Taker appearing from in the ring to outside it when he attacked the Good Brothers. But he seems to have the attitude of the American badass character. To add more fuel to the fire, Taker's real-life wife Michelle McCool also approved Renee Young's tweet of the American badass. Next up, more changes are planned for Mania and it may not take place at the Performance Center. Now, although WWE confirmed WrestleMania 36 is taking place at the WWE Performance Center, there's a wild rumor circulating that the event might not take place. Twitter user Fight Oracle tweeted, "Huge WrestleMania rumor. WrestleMania will not happen from the PC in Orlando. Why? WWE's insurance policy says they have a duty to mitigate damages. In this case, that means finding a new venue. WWE announced WrestleMania, I think he means Performance Center, as the new venue with intent to satisfy that requirement. It's an interesting rumor, and Fight Oracle's story has been picked up by several reliable news sites that vouch for his previous reports." He continued, "The thought is that the city of Orlando will shut down WrestleMania event from the PC. At this point, WWE will have shown they tried their best to move the event, mitigated damages, and they'd get paid by their insurer. WWE will look to stage WrestleMania June 7th. MSG is targeted. The idea of hosting Mania at the Garden would be helpful for several reasons." WrestlingNews.co's Paul Davis commented, "At that point, they can move the show to June 7th at Madison Square Garden. This would also make MSG management happy because they are losing out on a WWE live event in that venue on March 22nd due to the outbreak. Not only would the WWE make up for missing out on its 22nd March show, but it could also score some major points with Garden management, as the last Mania at the Mecca of Professional Wrestling was 2004's WrestleMania 20. With more promotions trying to run shows at the Garden and the WWE running far less shows than it used to, this move could repair the damaged relationship with the WWE and the Garden, possibly excluding other wrestling groups from coming in." Fight Oracle's final tweet was, "Of course everything is fluid. Everything at this point is a rumor until Kennedy McMahon makes the call. It just doesn't make sense to run WrestleMania from the PC. Just part of the insurance claim process. Again, this is a wild rumor, but it's big enough that Wrestlelamia would want to let you know about it." But what other big changes could there be? Well, fans might not see the usual bloated 7-hour show that they've become accustomed to. Diamond Dave Meltzer spoke on the Wrestling Observer Radio about what might happen on 5th April. "Pro wrestling is tough without fans, and it loses a lot, and they know that, so that's why we got what we got tonight, which was no wrestling Raw. Then for WrestleMania, that's a wrestling heavy show. They had 16 matches lined up. I don't know if they'll do 16 matches at this point. Planned matches have also been cut, as Wrestling Insider WrestleVotes tweeted, "Prior to all the changes, a mixed tag match was scheduled for WrestleMania. Heavy Machinery and Mandy Rose versus Ziggler, Rude and Sonya Deville. No telling on if that happens now, as comedy spots like I'm sure would have happened won't go over without the crowd." As we saw on the 16th March Raw, the WWE hasn't figured out how to conduct an empty arena show, as Raw was heavy on promos and light on in-house matches. Raw repeated the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble, which took up considerable time on the show. They won't be able to do that with WrestleMania. But one thing is clear, the WWE superstars have performed at 100% intensity during the empty arena matches, and you can be sure they'd do the same at WrestleMania. But those are rumoured plans for WrestleMania. What about WWE Hall of Fame and NXT TakeOver? It appears the WWE is looking for a way to salvage both the 2020 Hall of Fame and NXT TakeOver so it airs around the same time as WrestleMania. WWE French commentator Pat Laprade recently shared some rumours about both shows, and according to WrestlingNews.co, Laprade noted that the big rumour backstage is that WWE will move NXT TakeOver to the Wednesday before WrestleMania. This is a big deal for WWE because it gives them a very strong card to go head to head with AEW Dynamite. All AEW shows will also be taking place in front of no fans on a closed set for the foreseeable future. According to the same article, Dave Meltzer is reporting that the WWE may film multiple episodes of Raw and SmackDown at the Performance Center. This makes sense considering the travel difficulties WWE superstars are facing getting to the Performance Center. According to Edge's wife Beth Phoenix, the Rated R superstar had to drive 17 hours to get to Raw, apparently because he didn't want to travel via air. WWE is also taking no chances with the health of its superstars, even with them working out of the Performance Center. Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Saxton talked about the measures used before Raw, saying, "Sources say that in order to enter the tapings at the WWE Performance Center amidst the pandemic, talent, crew, etc. must pass a screening done by a team of physicians. The Performance Center personnel aren't the only people facing restrictions, as we're about to see, as AEW has been told to honor the 50-person limit for Dynamite. With the CDC advising that gatherings involving 50 or more people be postponed or cancelled, AEW finds itself in a precarious situation. Right now, AEW is planning on airing Dynamite from Daly's Place for the near future, a 5,500 seat venue that, like the Performance Center, will have no fans. However, during an episode of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez talked about an interesting edict sent to AEW by TNT officials. I know TNT talked to AEW about that. They don't want more than 50 people at their tapings. 50 people is not a lot when you consider the wrestlers and the various personnel involved in making the show happen. Like Raw and SmackDown, Dynamite will be an interesting show to watch merely for seeing how they pull things off. What do you think the show will be like? Let us know in the comments down below. But as news of WWE moving WrestleMania to the Performance Center circulated the internet, CM Punk thought that this would be a best chance to take a dig at Roman Reigns. Punk tweeted, "Well, that's one way to make sure Roman finally gets not booed and nobody chants for me." One user wasn't happy with CM Punk's comments and said, "Is this you begging for a return like you did on Backstage? No crowd reaction seems to be your element." And then Punk revealed, "I'm not the one texting begging for a match with me at Mania." We wonder who that could be. Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Steve Austin apologizes to Byron Saxton. Stone Cold Steve Austin celebrated 316 Day by drinking many beers and giving WWE announcer Byron Saxton a kick to his family jewels followed by a Stone Cold Stunner. But Austin had to apologize to Saxton. "My sincere apologies to Byron Saxton for kicking him dead square in the balls. I don't know what hurts worse, his balls or my foot. I will go in for x-rays tomorrow. Byron, ice him down for 20 minutes every other hour. That's what Vince McMahon did. All the best." And our final story, Roman Reigns being monitored by doctors. In 2018, Roman Reigns dropped a huge bombshell on fans, announcing that his leukemia has come out of remission and that he must now take time off for recovery. Fast forward to 2019 and Roman announces the cancer is in remission again, meaning whilst he's fine now, it could come back at any point during his lifetime. Dave Meltzer told on the recent Observer Radio show that because of the current health crisis, Roman is being closely monitored by doctors as his underlying health issues could lead to fatal consequences if he comes in contact. He mentioned they have doctors who are going to monitor Roman Reigns, but he's got a weakened immune system to a degree because the CML leukemia is in him for life. He beat it. It may not come back, it may come back. CML is one of those things that can come back and, likely will, and he'll likely go through the same scenario that he did. It's one of those things that's in you and it can come back. That's one of the things that's not really good as far as risks go. Hopefully Roman will be fine, as he was seen jogging outside on his Instagram account, but WWE is making sure they take no risks with him. But there you have it guys, the latest wrestling news and rumours you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.